Welcome back to the MOOC course titled Qualitative Research Methods. My name is Aradhana Malik and I'm helping you with this course. And in this lecture, we are going to talk about visual methods in qualitative research, a very, very interesting topic, very close to my heart, and extremely informative as far as, it gives us such a rich base of data to work with. So I'll just show you something very interesting through the course of this lecture. All right. When we talk about visual methods of qualitative research, we talk about various things. Now, I'm going to take you through some things that other people in other areas have collected, and I'll take you through some websites. So please stay with me. The various categories of visual research. Now, this is from a website that has been put up by the Image and Identity Research Collective, IIRC, McGill University, Canada. Let me show you that website. I've taken some material from there and I've cited it verbatim with due acknowledgement to the original website. Thank you very much for giving us such a crisp, such a to the point, such an informative wealth of information about visual research, and I'll just show you through this video in addition to other things. Let me show you that website. So it's here. IIRC, hold on, where is it? Yeah. 1 second. Yeah, IIRC. So this is the Image and Identity Research Collective of McGill University that has been put up here, and it's really very nice. It has a lot of different things here, and I've taken a lot of information from here, and I've cited wherever possible. So all right, so this is where this is drawn from. Now I will focus only in this class, I will focus only on explicitly visual methods. So we'll go through arts-based research first. What is art-based research? The features of art-based research are reflexivity. It connects to the self yet distances us from ourselves, acting as a mirror. Art-based research specifically deals with a slice of life that is captured in and through art for the purpose of research. So we just take what we see and we present it on either film or photograph or through images, and we try and capture as rich information about the context as possible in a visual manner, and we put it on some recordable medium. I will not go into what those are. Could be paper, could be canvas, could be film, could be the digital formats, but we record it somewhere. The features of this are reflexivity. It connects to the self yet distances us from ourselves, acting as a mirror. So when we observe something, we become a part of what we are observing. But in order to capture what we want to capture, we also distance ourselves, and we take these decisions as to what to include, what to exclude, what to bring into the frame, what to put in the center, what should be in the foreground, what should be in the background, where should the light come from, how should we direct the viewer's thought process, what do we want the person who sees this artwork to see, what do we want them to focus on, how do we want to guide their eyes from one part of this visual document to another. So that is what reflexivity means, and what do we want them to think after that. It can be used to capture the ineffable, the hard to put into words. Many times it becomes very difficult to capture whatever we want to capture in words, because words are limited by what they can express, by our vocabulary, by the understandability of the receiver, etc. But a photograph is worth 1,000 words, as they say. So what we see is worth 1,000 words. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It is memorable, cannot be easily ignored, demands our sensorial, emotional and intellectual attention. Our senses are involved. We see it, we capture it, we process it in our minds. It can be used to communicate more holistically, simultaneously keeping the whole and the part in view. And through visual detail and context, art shows why and how study of the one can resonate with the lives of many. Art is, especially when it's used for research, it is expected to be a representation of many. So we take a slice of life and we say these people live like this phenomenon happened like this, and I'll just come to something very, very, excuse me, well researched, and something that I have been quite deeply interested in. I'll just show you. Okay, some more features. Through metaphor and symbol can carry theory elegantly and eloquently, makes the ordinary seem extraordinary. It provokes, it innovates, and breaks through common resistance, forcing us to consider new ways of seeing or doing things. It involves the embodiment and provokes embodied responses. It can be more accessible than most forms of academic discourse. It's better on the eyes than words on a piece of paper. Many times you've told me, ma'am, you go slide after slide and you tell us, you read what's on the slide and you try and explain this to us. So yes, sometimes it can get tedious for the brain to capture, but when you see things in front of your eyes, it becomes easier to get information from there. At the same time, it also opens it up to multiple interpretations, which can be difficult to replicate. Okay, it makes the personal, social, and the private public. Some methods of art-based research are self-film. Self-film is a new concept that combines cell phone and film, and there is a paper on this by Vanessa Oliver. Let me show that paper to you, because we have access to the database through our. This is a paper by Vanessa Oliver that is published in the in Global Public Health, which is an international journal for research, policy, and practice. And Oliver has described what a cell film is, and this journal is published by Taylor and Francis, and the title of the paper is "What's a Cell Film? Integrating Mobile Phone Technology into Participatory Visual Research and Activism." So a very nice account of what a cell film is. If you can get access to it, please do. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share this on a public forum. Anyway, so this is what a cell film is. Then the International Cell Film Festival in Montreal is also being conducted. I think I already have the website open for you to save on time. Let me see, I think I have that here. Yes, you can see that a lot of things, you know, are mentioned here about what cell films are, and you can maybe go through the archives and see how cell films are actually evolving as a new technology of capturing, of visually capturing qualitative data. So that's very nice, and you can actually go through their archives. All right, so that's about cell films. It is connecting, it's what we do all the time these days. We watch videos on our cell phones, and that can act as a rich as a method of collecting data. When I ask my students to go out into the field and do surveys and talk to people and this, and I ask them to make videos, and they say, no problem, ma'am, we can do it right here, right now. Take about their cell phones, all kinds, sizes, shapes, varieties, capture things and say, this is happening, that's happening. So very interesting. Participatory video is another one, that is another method of arts-based research. These are videos especially created by participants to explicate their dialogue or decision-making process. And let me show you some examples here. So I hope you'll enjoy this lecture much more than the previous lectures, which were mostly theoretical in nature. This is participatory video. Okay, so the process of participatory video is very nicely listed on this website called Transformative Storytelling for Social Change, and the process is explained here. I wish I had time to go into each of these things, but I don't. So I'm just giving you something very briefly, and I hope you will go through it and do things on your own. But then, you know, this is where participants record their lives as participants and then analyze it later. So very interesting. And you know, this is a little bit more on what participatory video is and how it can be made. Then we also have photo voice, which is another method which involves capturing specific social events through photographic techniques to highlight the concerns raised in those events. And this technique was described and used and developed by Wang and Burris in 1997. It was published in a paper by Wang and Burris in 1997, and in this technique, we specifically focus on specific aspects of, we don't capture everything and then try to make sense of it. We highlight what we want to get out of a specific social situation. We take pictures and we let the pictures speak for themselves. And again, here I'll show you these different resources. There is this paper by Wang and Burris that I want to show you. So photo voice concept, methodology and use for participatory needs assessment. This is the paper, and it was published in a journal called Health, Education and Behavior, volume 24, issue 3. And so maybe if you have access to this paper, you'll know more about this technique. Then there is also this website that shows you how the photo voice technique can be used. And there is a website called photovoice.org that describes how, or that shows you photo voice in action. So what has photo voice, the applications of photo voice. And there is a manual of photo voice that has been, I've put up the link here. Let me see if I can get it here. Yeah. A practical guide to photo voice, sharing pictures, telling stories and changing communities. This is freely available on the internet. The link has been posted in your slides, so maybe you can go through it and get some more information about what photo voice is and how it can be used. And this is photo voice in the field. So these are some of the techniques. Now there is another thing that I will describe for you in greater detail, which is research photography, and this is from a paper by Harper in the Handbook of Qualitative Research Methods, and the Handbook of Qualitative Research. Now research photography is a specific, it is of course a form of art-based research, but then there is a term called research photography and photography research. Research photography is photography with the specific aim of carrying out research. And what do photographs capture? They take things taken for granted by a cultural insider, which rules are followed, which norms guide behavior that is not regulated by rules, and what areas of social life lie primarily outside the perusal of rules, are not obvious to cultural outsiders. So cultural outsiders, in this case photographers, capture a slice of life as it is with minimal influence of the above, minimal knowledge of what has led to the slice of life they are capturing. And then they take it and then they analyze it in light of what they and then they present it for analysis, and they say maybe this is a representative section. That is research photography. Photography research is analyzing photographs that were taken and finding out. Research photography involves taking pictures with a specific purpose in mind. I want to capture this and this and this and this and this, maybe in ordinary life, and see what happened. Photography research is you take a bunch of photographs, you collect all the photographs and then see patterns emerging. And a worldwide project using photography research is the Holocaust Research Project. Very, very painful event. All of us know, over 6 million Jews were brutally killed and in the Holocaust, and it was a very, very painful event. But then this is something that I have personal interest in. I've studied a lot about it. I'll just show you this website and show you, various things exist. Now various things have been put up on the net, and this is very interesting as to here, let's see. So when you put this up, pull this up, you see various photographs here. This is on Pinterest. You have to maybe log in to become a member. Then there is this Holocaust Research Project, where you have various photographs from the Holocaust, so actual pictures that were taken at the time of the Holocaust. And this is images from the Kovno ghetto. See, so what do you see? You see a lot of children just playing in the snow. These are children from the Jewish kindergarten in Kovno, Lithuania. And this is a bread seller. An impoverished ghetto resident sells bread on the black market. An elderly woman carrying a purse stands among bundles of personal possessions in a public square of the Kovno ghetto. So there are various images here, and then you piece all these images and say this is what happened historically. When this was happening, historians weren't trying to capture all this so that they could publish history books. No, everybody was fighting for their lives, and the pictures that were taken either by the soldiers or by the people implementing the Nazi decision, or by the residents, and these photographs somehow were preserved, or by the residents of the ghettos, or by journalists. All of these have been collected after the event has passed, after the large scale massacre of people, and now history is being pieced together by way of these pictures, in addition to documents and other things. So that is photography research. It's interesting, it can be very painful, and it is in retrospect. These pictures were not taken with the explicit intention of conducting research. Research is coming out of these pictures. So that is the difference here. So you can go through it on your own. There's a lot of information here, and the computer is very slow, so please give me a second. Okay, all right. Yeah. Now, what happens when we try and assign meanings to photographs? There are various methods of organizing logical meanings of photographs. The first one is empirical. This orientation towards photograph recognizes that a photographic image is created when light leaves its trace on an element that has a memory. For the image to exist, there had to be light reflected off of a subject. Thus, the photograph is a record of the subject at a particular moment. If photographs are read carefully with the help of a cultural insider, they begin to offer evidence of normative behavior. And there is interpretation versus objective truth. Now, photographs are taken by people who may or may not be participants in a situation. We photograph others. Of course, in this day and age of selfies, there is, that's a whole different evolution of photographic research, and we say, okay, this is how, and Facebook is collecting all these selfies and saying this is what your life was like in the past year. So this way of gathering and preserving information is evolving so fast. But then photographs are usually taken of a person in time, and light leaves the surface and leaves an impression either on the video film or on digital media or on various media. And so they need to be read with a cultural insider, with a person who was part of that situation, who was doing what was being photographed, in order to understand what was done. And then there is also this very, very, very intricate dance between interpretation and objective truth. What is interpretation? What is truth? Where do we draw the line? Okay, visual narratives, film or video. So visual narratives are, it is a story that is constructed through single images that are taken sequentially, that when viewed in rapid succession seem to recreate the movement the eye sees. Now, in this day and age, I don't know how many of you students have actually seen what films in olden days looked like. There were series of pictures that were taken very, very quickly. I wish I had pulled it up to show it to you here. But you can see how filmmaking has evolved over time. There were pictures, and then we as children, we were taught how to make a series of pictures that seemed to be moving. So an action, so you draw a drawing like this, and then this, and this, and this, and then this, and then this, and then if you just flip through those pages, it seems that the hand is moving like this. That is how a motion picture was made. So you take individual photographs while movement is taking place and play them in quick succession. And so that is how films are made. Digitally, we can do this much faster than the human eye is able to see. Every visual narrative involves a decision concerning how much information to include per time unit. How much information do we want in a particular unit of time? And that decision has to be made. Sometimes, in olden, say many years ago, when we saw Bollywood movies, we would see people dancing in slow motion around trees and all of that. So how much time do you focus? In real life, that doesn't happen. But in films, you would see this, Similarly, some significant event in pictures, in movies, was played in slow motion with a lot of noise, and all that, and then, slow motion happened. So just to enhance the emphasis. So how do you decide what you want to focus on, or what you want to repeat, etc. Then choices and decisions regarding what to include, what to let go, or foreground and background, or span of capture, etc. So all of these are concerns that come along with using film and video as a visual narrative, as a tool for qualitative research. Photo elicitation. In photo elicitation, it's a technique in which a researcher might present a group of images to a specific group of recipients or participants to elicit their explanations, to see how they view the role of an action or artifact in relation to the question that has been asked. So maybe you could show, say, a picture of a ghetto from the Holocaust to somebody and say, what do you see? What are people doing? And you say, they are relaxing, they are in these bunkers made of wood and they are relaxing. But if you know history, you'll say, no, they're just waiting for their turn to be incinerated. So I mean, depends on what you see, what you feel, what kinds of emotions a photograph evokes in you, with or without the knowledge of the context in which the photo was taken, and that technique is called photo elicitation. Experience and image. This is another way of capturing visual data. The vantage point changes to the self. So you become a participant, and then you photograph a phenomenon with the self as a participant in the phenomenon. It's also called the phenomenological mode. In this type of technique, photographs express the artistic, emotional, or experiential intent of the photographer. What do you want noticed? Where do you see yourself? How do you see yourself as part of what is being photographed? So you may not be in the picture, but then you could be moving with the camera in your hand. So you are a part of the event, and you narrate things and you say things and you represent them as part of the event that you're trying to describe. Social construction of photography and visual sociology. The social positions of the photographer and subject come into play when a photograph is made. Making photographs defines identities, institutional relationships, and histories. So the histories are described socially. Influence of expected gender roles. In real life, would we expect to see routine photographs of a woman mechanic on the shop floor of a construction unit? Maybe, maybe not. Would we expect to see in India, this is slowly becoming a reality. We have women bus conductors now in many states. I believe Maharashtra was the first one to start lady bus conductors. So it was a rare sight initially. Or lady auto rickshaw drivers, women auto rickshaw drivers in Delhi and in other places, in high risk cities, for example. I mean, that is a rare sight even now. Say maybe 20 to 30 years ago, my home state did not have too many women drivers, and so having a woman drive a larger vehicle was a rare sight. So would you like to see somebody? You would associate various things, various aspects of social life to what you see. So that is again, the expected gender roles come out. We take only those photographs that make logical sense to us, that make social sense to us, that make normative sense to us. That is, the photographer's intent, the photographer's orientation is playing a part in what is being captured and what is being left out, what comes in the foreground, what goes on the in the background, what kind of gender roles is the photographer explicating through or describing through the photographs. Okay. Now this part is directly from the website, and it's all in italics. It's all from the website, from this page of the website, and I hope the website has no objection to it, but I have given it due credit. Let me just show you. Hold on. I've just brought everything for you. Okay, visual images in research. Now this is a paper by Sandra Weber in Concordia University. How do you analyze visual qualitative data? I have just summarized what Weber has presented on this website, and I have put it on this slide. So thank you very much to Sandra Weber for giving us this information here. The whole is often greater than or different from the sum of the parts, and in this, what one needs to be careful of is one should be guided by the research question. Be guided by the research question. Keep track of your reactions and ideas in a journal or log. I mean, these are basic tips on how to do visual qualitative research using visual data as your data. Keep track of your reactions and ideas in a journal or log. Every time you gather or analyze your data, keep a meticulous log giving a detailed account of the context. Keep track of data and label everything carefully. Lay out your data very, very carefully, and keep reminding yourself how the organization of data relates to your research question. Keep visual notes of your understanding of the data laid out in front of you as it evolves. So this is what one must do. How do you question the images using a critical theory or cultural studies framework? We need to know for whom the images are intended. What significance does that have? This is a checklist, and I'm reading it directly from here. This is directly from the website. What does the image text say about whatever you are researching? For example, learning, teaching, love, play, politics, work, technology, etc. How do these images create meaning? What social, cultural, or political knowledge is required to be able to interpret the meanings? For whom are the images intended? What significance does that have? For whom are these images intended? What significance does that have? How were the images produced or created by whom and under what circumstances? Are there power relationships involved? What stories do they tell? Okay, so these are some of the questions we ask. Then we also ask, what is your emotional reaction to these images? How do other people react to them? What might these reactions signify in terms of interpreting these images? What is the main text or messages conveyed by images? What are the counter texts or the hidden implicit messages? How are visible minorities represented or portrayed? How are gender differences and similarities portrayed? How is the group you're focusing on represented? Who has power, or how is power distributed or used? What is the relationship between the image text and the status quo? So we have various questions that we keep in mind when we are trying to analyze visual data using the critical theory paradigm. Okay, how do photographs contribute to qualitative research? Now, we take these photographs, we analyze them, but how are they contributing to qualitative research? The photographs by themselves seem curiously detached, even quiet and subdued, yet they emerge from an adrenaline saturated experience. The experience that has led to the photograph being put or being captured is what really gives the photograph its meaning, and that helps us decide again the vantage point from which the photograph has been taken, what the photograph is trying to highlight, what it is trying to subdue. Photography can produce data that enlarge our understanding of sociological processes, from the formation of one's own definition of the situation to the negotiation of actors with different machines. Photographs record details that may engage viewers to reflect upon larger cultural realities. Using photos as sequences allows us to see how social actions take place. So we use photographs as insights into the life that we are trying to capture through our qualitative data collection, or collection of data for the purposes of qualitative research. The future of visual research, various organizations are looking at this. One of the most reputed organizations in the world is the Society for Visual Anthropology, and their website is listed here. So they are doing great work. Visual and photographs find a role in history, in anthropology, in in case study research, etc. The technologies that are evolving are photo voice, self film, etc. And there is increasing interest in studying the social applicability of research, for which photographs and visual methods come in very, very handy. Now there is artwork that is researched. There is, there are ways of integrating quantitative and qualitative types of data, and so the visual data that we collect contributes in a significant manner to the analysis of the data that we or the analysis of a situation that we are looking at, or a problem that we are trying to solve. So it's a very interesting field. I've given you lots of tips and pointers, and I hope you'll take them and you will conduct your research, and you'll find more value in all these leads that have been given to you. That's all we have time for in this lecture. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll continue with some more information on qualitative research in the next classes. Thanks a lot.